best to hold.
That was not good. That might have cost them the game. That's 4 deaths to 2 kills. Yeah, that's not good. So Tim the Tatman has been playing a lot of Deadlock recently. He is just barely getting into the game, and coming from a hero shooter background, his micro tends to be pretty good in this sort of game, but his macro needs a lot of work. So today we are going to go ahead and break down his last game from his day 2 stream where he is playing as Bebop. Let's get into it. Now there's going to be a lot of jumping around because there are a lot of clips to get through, but first of all I want to go ahead and look at some of the things that Tim is just doing spectacular. So right here he has a beautiful hook on Graves here to go ahead and confirm this kill. That was incredible. Alright, he's playing a great job. You can really see his Marvel rivals Bucky coming through right here. Right here he has a beautiful kind of accidental dodge on this heavy by Billy, but he understands that he needs to be moving around, which is really great. If you just stand still and play like a robot, then you're just going to get melted. Moving on to some of the examples of Tim making good macro decisions. So right here they have literally just destroyed the walker, and instead of continuing to take this fight, he makes the correct decision to back off and to go by. You know, there's no reason to push this fight. It's not going to be advantageous for them at all, so this is the correct decision. Now that here he makes a decision to go ahead and to steal the enemy's medium camp. Now, I don't think that he made the conscious decision to do this, thinking like, okay, I'm going to steal the enemy's resources, but this is a good play nonetheless. Now that here, the bridge buffs have literally just spawned, and he is immediately going for it. He's making his way there a little aimlessly, but to be just barely starting the game and going for bridge buffs is huge. They're usually so free, so definitely get those bridge buffs. That's a good play. Here, Tim gets a good pick. He's not letting this guy get away. He goes ahead and goes in for the kill. And then he takes the opportunity to go ahead and do these mid boxes. Now, he didn't necessarily make the decision to come here and do this, but he does take a second to grab these boxes, and that is a good macro decision. These boxes are worth a lot of souls. Now, sadly, he doesn't take the opportunity to grab those mid buffs, those mid golden statue buffs, but, you know, I'll just take the win here. He did a good job with a kill and getting these buffs, so good on you, Tim. Now, in MOBAs and really every game, there is the idea of making trades, and so the idea of winning a trade is you basically deal more damage than you take. Here, he's got not a lot of health, and he pushes just right into the open. That's a pretty horrible trade. He decides to drop back and buy, which is a good choice, but he misses the opportunity to go ahead and take this small camp right here. I think that would have been the proper play, so it's all right. Now right here, this is a bit of a micro thing that I would have just recommended. Here, Dynamo comes into range, and Tim doesn't even go for the attempted hook. I think with Dynamo being so low that this could have been a good play to get this hook. Dynamo sneaks up and goes for the shot, and I think right there, if he had flipped over and went for that hook, he could have even killed Dynamo, because him and Mo are both right there. So there's something to think about. Look for those hooks, especially when you've got them, because they can get you those kills. So one thing to keep in mind when you're playing Deadlock is the timings of different things, like how long it takes you to do a medium camp, because once again, catching waves. So here in this situation, he makes the right call. He comes over and he takes this medium wave from the enemy team, which is great. But as you can see, there is a lane that, there's a wave that's crashing into his Guardian, and he's continuing to do this this other medium camp, and Graves and Dynamo are on his walker. So even though they won the laning phase, he's kind of dilly-dallying here. He's walking around. He's not doing anything with the real purpose, and because of this, Graves and Dynamo actually get a lot of damage here, right? I think they might actually end up destroying his Guardian right here, from what I can recall, or at least getting super close. So, like, yes, he's gonna get the I think he gets a picks here, which is awesome, but like that Guardian damage didn't need to happen. He didn't have to let it get that low, so just something to keep in mind. Catching waves is important, very important. Don't just let them crash into your stuff for no reason. So one of the biggest things that people coming from non-MOBA games, such as, hero shooters, Marvel Rivals, Overwatch, those sorts of games, is they don't understand the importance of waves and catching waves. And so right here, Tim does this medium camp. If you look at the center, there's a huge wave that is going to crash into their blue walker. Now he's focused hard on this fight, which is fair, right? But their walker here takes almost half of its health and damage, right? Like right here, he should be going straight over to blue to catch that wave, but he just doesn't. He messes around in the shop a little bit, right? But I guess it's kind of a mixture of like map awareness as well as just like understanding how important it is for waves, right? And right here, he comes over to yellow to help in this fight, which once again, he's helping fights. There is this idea that if you're not in a fight, right, coming from a hero shooter, right, if you're just off dilly-dallying, then you're not contributing. And in MOBAs, a lot of times that tends to be the opposite. There's a lot of value that you can bring to your team other than just going to the fight and shooting people, right? So like catching this blue wave would have been something that would have been beneficial for the team. So this one kind of comes down to map awareness and once again waves, right? So if we go ahead and press play here, if we look down here, Billy hops on the map and is pushing this wave. And so if I'm playing, then I know, okay, Billy is wanting to take this walker because it's already low health, but nobody really goes over. So they don't need 3 people pushing this lane. One of them should have definitely gone over to catch blue. But because nobody goes over to catch blue, Billy ends up taking this walker for completely free, and that gives him a high amount of souls, helping him get his kit online and become a problem later down the road. So try not to let your walkers get taken for free, right? There's nobody even contests this, nobody even goes to this, so just keep that in mind when you're playing the game. So in Deadlock, once you've secured an objective, ideally you want to drop back probably I'd say about 90% of the time, because a lot of times people realized late that you were taking an objective, and so you have a lot of people that are probably rushing to defend the objective, and they'll probably get there a little bit late. So if you get out the second that the objective is destroyed, a lot of times you can get out for free. But in this clip, he sticks around a little bit too long, and we're gonna go ahead and kind of like fast forward through this. So first there's a Wraith, right? And he's got those hero shooter instincts, so he's like, okay, there's a Wraith, let me go ahead and fight. And he pushes forward and pushes forward and pushes forward, and eventually gets to the point where the whole team is here on them, right? Like 4 of the 5 team are on him, and they just kill him, right? And so the reason that he died here was he made the decision to continue pushing when he should have just got out and left. So this is kind of the same mistake that he made. So they take the walker here. He makes the decision to push the wave farther, which is fine. It's an all right decision as long as you're confident in being able to take this 1v1, because you know that Billy's going to come catch this wave. Long story short, if we fast forward, he doesn't, and so we actually end up with like the same situation as last time, where he ends up in a fight against Billy. And yes, I understand part of the problem here is that he doesn't understand anti-heal or anything like that. But he takes the 1v1, he, instead of like continuing to drop back along his lane so his team could ride a zip to help him, he runs mid, the whole enemy team collapses on him, and you actually get like almost the same exact thing as last time, where he ends up in basically a 3v1, 4v1 situation, and he dies. So this is just something, when you get a walker, you should probably retreat, because the last 2 times that you did it, you just ended up dead because the whole team came and killed you. So here Tim's makes the decision to push this wave, which is good, but he makes the mistake of trying to push the wave all the way to the base. If you look up here, I mean, at this point, 3 of his team are dead, and only 1 of the enemy team is dead. So if he pushes all the way to the base, he's going to get collapsed on, which is what ends up happening. He ends up fighting Billy, and whole team comes, collapses on him, kills him, he dies, right? So yes, he's having problems with fighting against Billy because he doesn't have any anti-heal, but making the mistake of trying to push the base solo was a mistake as far as a macro level. He should have just pushed. He could have gone and done the bridge buffs. That could have been a good play. He could have done some medium camps, could have done some centers, could have helped run earn. Like, there's a lot of decisions that he could have made, and pushing all the way to the base, although I don't think it was necessarily the correct play. Yes, he got the base Guardians, but he traded his life for it, and at this stage of the game, the respawn timers are so long that dying for base Guardians probably isn't the correct move. Okay, this one's a pet peeve of mine. He has this idea that his ult is going to save him, and so the amount of times that he is like standing right next to, especially Billy, who can just beat the crap out of him, and he ults, like, just get up in the sky, make it hard for Billy to ult you, right? Like, it's just, like, he does it multiple times throughout the video. You get up into the sky. There's a couple of times where he gets up into the sky, and I'll show you one of those. So right here, you know, the enemies are in the base, so he's, you know, helping to fight them. He comes up here, he jumps, and right here, he ults in the sky, okay? Billy's not going to be able to have an easy time punching him, right? Parallax could have maybe gone for a swap here or whatever, but like he needs to be in the sky when he's using this ult. It just makes him a lot easier to hit targets. It makes it a lot easier for him to not get hit by targets, right? He needs to do that. So at this point, like, you know, I want to give Tim credit. Like, he's a good gamer and he's understanding what he needs to be doing. And I mean, we all get sucked into the game a lot of times, and so we're not looking at the map. Here's a perfect example of him paying attention to the map and being like, hey, look, that right lane can get pushed together, right? And so that's the right call. Like, probably what realistically should have happened is he asks Mo to push out right lane and he pushes like the mid lane one more wave. But this is great. This is good that he's thinking about it, because that's where improvement begins. That's where your macro improvement begins, is thinking about it and doing your best to pay attention to it. So good on you, Tim. So right here, this is a bit of a priority mistake. There's like different priorities of things that you should be doing. Right now the bridge buff is up. The bridge buff is very easy to steal. Sinners take a little bit more time. Actually, you know, case in point, Mo and Grill, his duo buddy, comes and steals it from him, right? If he had gone for the buff first, he would have gotten the buff, then he could have doubled back for the Sinners. That would have worked a little bit better. So just keep that in mind. Think of what's easy steal, what's hard to steal, that sort of thing. The thing I just want to talk about real quick here is just how important the urn is. So there probably should have been a call out. Mo and Krill could have stopped this, right? They've got all of their lanes pushed up, so they very easily could have contested this, and they just decided not to. To be fair, there is, you know, they're fighting two of their people down here, but you know, with these people not having their wave pushed, I think that you don't need a lot of people here to defend this. So I think letting Billy get the urn here for free is a mistake, right? Once again, the more souls that you can deny from the enemy team, the better it's going to be for you, right? Like, the more souls Billy gets, the more online he's going to become, the harder it is for you guys to deal with them. So keep that in mind. Earn is an objective. It's not as important as mid-boss, but it is important, and it is an objective, and it is a way for them to come back if they're down souls. So keep that in mind. Alrighty, now we are here for the decision that could have cost them the game, right? So they're in a good spot here, right? Wraith is dead. They've gotten the rejuice, right? So what they would probably want to do here is make sure that all of their waves are pushed and then take the fight to the enemy base. Make sure that everybody is kind of there together. So instead, Tim decides that he's going to push the mid lane. He's going to fight him, right? So right now they're all split up. They're a lot closer to the enemy side than they are to their own side. So it makes it a lot easier for the enemy team to all come together to press forward and push, right? He kind of screws up a couple of his things here. Once again, he ults while he's standing on the ground, which is not the greatest decision, right? But now the rest of his team is just barely getting there to join the fight, and the reason that this causes a lot of problems is when you're in lower elos, and even in some higher elos, there's this idea of like going to fights to help, right? Like if your teammate makes a bad decision, it's like, oh, my teammate's in a fight, they're dying, I need to go help them, right? And so in taking really bad fights, you can actually cause your team a lot of deaths. And so if we fast forward, so we go through all of our rejuves, right? And we have 4 deaths. So that's 7 deaths that this one decision by Tim costs, right? He made this call to go and do this mid fight, and it actually costed his team 7 deaths. Now they got 2 kills, which is awesome. That's great. But there could have been a lot better decision making here, and that is the decision that ultimately could have costed the game. Now they do end up, they are able to come back, and they're able to defend their base and everything, and they're able to turn it around and go and end and everything. But once again, like, that decision was probably one of the worst decisions here to make, and that just it comes from understanding the game, understanding how fast people can get to your location, and so, like, the rejuve doesn't make you invincible, it just gives you an extra life, right? So 1v5, you're still gonna die, right? It's not gonna make you invincible. So yeah, that is the decision that almost costed the game. It almost did. So from what I've seen, the conclusion is that Tim's micro, his decisions in combat, tend to be fairly above the average player, right? He still doesn't understand the characters. He doesn't understand the character that he's playing with. It's still the first couple of games that he's playing. The real thing that Tim needs is just more hours, right? And that's with anybody, right? If you pick up any game, it's going to take you a couple hours, especially MOBAs, right? They are completely different than any other game we've ever played. So as Tim plays the game more, as he understands more about how the game works, more about macro, more about how big of an impact his decisions make for his whole team, not just himself, right? For his whole team, for whether they stay alive, whether they die, that sort of thing, he'll become a amazing player. And I think that he's going to become an amazing player. He just has to put in the time, the energy, the effort, right? He needs to make use of the tools. He needs to explore the map, right? Get that memorized, the map knowledge and everything like that. Just, it plays a huge role. So if you like the video, go ahead and give me a subscription, shoot me a like. If you disagree with any of my thoughts on Tim's gameplay, go ahead and leave it in the comments. I will go ahead and let you all go so that I can finish moving out of my apartment. It is completely bare bones. So yeah, have a good one. Take care.